Hey everybody, so I kind of start all my videos out like that, but I just got back from the Low Carb USA conference. I was doing some speaking on my lifestyle changes, beating obesity and we'll just say alcoholism to an extent, and taking control of my life by weight loss and keeping the weight off with a low carb ketogenic lifestyle, and becoming an advocate for the diet, not just amongst athletes but pretty much for everybody else who is following the standard American diet. Now, that's not to say you can't be low carb ketogenic from a vegan or vegetarian perspective, because you can. All ketogenic diet means is that you have a measurable amount of ketones, and you can be a vegetarian and still be low carb ketogenic. So I just wanted to quash that right off the bat. For anybody who might say that plant-based is better, well, you can be plant-based and ketogenic. But one of the questions I was asked when I was up speaking, because I like to do more Q&A and discussion instead of me just standing up there dictating, is I was asked, how can younger people who don't have some of the health issues that some of our population has today, or elderly, or people over, we'll say 45. I'm 40, so I'm kind of approaching that old timer status. But how can we make it more how can we make this way of eating a little bit more appealing to the younger generation? Well, our kids these days are getting diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and all these other man-made diseases at a much more alarming rate. I'm not going to pull up the research, but you can do a Google search for the obesity rise amongst kids, and you're going to see it astronomical. So it really starts with education, getting the parents involved, making sure that the parents, because the parents are responsible for their kids, making sure that I shouldn't say we're, because I don't have kids, but making sure that the parents are the ones out there feeding the kids for what their body needs, not what they emotionally want. No kid needs McDonald's. No kid needs mac and cheese on a regular basis. I know I ate it a lot growing up for various reasons, but at the same time, we need help from our food industry. And the food industry has made it incredibly easy to be addicted to carbs. My wife posted a New York Times article about why it's so hard to cut carbs, and I'm going to find that link and paste it in this Facebook video. But it goes into great detail on how when you eat healthy fats along with some healthy proteins, you're more satisfied, as opposed to when you eat carbohydrates, you get the urge to want to go back and eat more and more and more. So getting back to that question, and the answer is parents need to get a little bit more involved in the education of their kids by feeding them right and not giving in to their kids' wants. We also need to make sure that our younger generation, as they grow up and get involved and educated, that they can go out and do some of these studies that the clinical world holds, because that's where it's going to come into play as well. And we also need to make sure that we can get the media involved. The media plays such a huge role in getting information out there to the non-medical community or the non-scientific community, because we can do a quick poll of anybody on the street and they're going to know what's going on with Kim Kardashian or some other celebrity. But when it comes down to do you know that this is going on with your food? They don't have a clue. So we need to really start taking a focus on that. And I think a lot of people are on the right track. Social media and the internet has played such a huge role in being able to get that information out. But at the same time, there's a lot of misinformation that goes out there too. And we need to really be diligent to make sure that that information is non-biased, which means that What the Health documentary, that is total crap, that stuff needs to go. We need to make sure that this stuff's unbiased and we start really eating for our health and not for our emotional needs.